Back now on Triad Today, and let's tackle a serious topic: driving while under the influence of alcohol. We hope it's something that doesn't happen to you or anyone you know or love, anyone in your family. If it does, there are things you need to know. J. Paul, our director. If we can turn to our good friend and legal expert, Mike Fradin with the Dummit Law Firm. Welcome, Mike. How you doing?
Good. I'm doing well.
Let's first talk about the ramifications of being found guilty of DWI. I mean, do you go to jail instantly? Are there certain types of fines? Do your insurance rates go up? School me on this.
Potentially yes, yes, and yes, Jim. First thing that you really need to know, or a big thing for a lot of people, is that you're going to lose your license, driver's license, for at least a year if you're found guilty or if you plead guilty. Another thing is jail time. You can potentially get up to 2 years in jail if you have a prior DWI within the last 7 years, and even if this is your first time, you can get up to 60 days in jail. Fines total at least $500 to $600. Fines, costs, and other fees total at least $500 to $600 to the court. And yes, your insurance rates are probably going to go up about 400%. So there's some very, very negative consequences to being found guilty or to pleading guilty to DWI.
You talked about losing your license, and you said that if you're found guilty of DWI, that it's an automatic lose your license. Let me ask you something. What about, not that I'm defending someone if they've gone out driving drunk or whatever, but let's say it's a first-time offense and it's a good person, and the person says to you, Mike, I want to be able to go to church down the street here. I want to go to the convenience store, go to the grocery store, pick up medicines. Is there any provision for that? I've never asked anybody this question, but once you have a license pulled, is there any provision for being able to do those things?
Well, yes, there is. First of all, there's no discretion upon the court. The DMV is going to suspend your license for at least 1 year upon your first conviction of a DWI. If you haven't had another DWI within the previous 7 years, you're eligible for what's called post-trial limited driving privileges. Post-trial limited driving privileges allow you to drive to work, drive to school, go to church. Maintenance of the household is what they call it. You can get driving privileges for pretty much any time you're working, going to school, or doing any of those things.
So it's not going to impede your ability to support your family necessarily?
Not going to impede your ability to support your family, no, but it's going to impede your ability to do just about anything else.
Okay. In no particular order, I just had a lot of random questions going through my mind about this, so I want to learn along with you at home as we ask these questions. Is it true that sometimes when you're stopped and there's a breathalyzer given? I have two questions. Mm-hmm. First, should you automatically agree to the breathalyzer?
Well, no, and I don't know if you're talking about the one where there's two different types of breathalyzers, or what people call them breathalyzers. There's an Alka-Sensor, which is a handheld machine out on the scene, and there's the one that you blow on downtown, which is admissible in court. The first one, the results of which are not admissible in court. I get asked that a lot. Should I blow? Should I have blown? Shouldn't I have blown? Again, the first one, the Alka-Sensor on the scene, is used just for what's called probable cause to arrest most of the time. The one downtown, if you refuse, there's some other negative ramifications that the DMV is going to sock you with. First, you're going to lose your license automatically for a year at the time you refuse, or within 10 days after you refuse. And the bad part about that is you cannot get driving privileges for the first 6 months of that year suspension by the DMV. That has nothing to do with the criminal case. That's by the DMV. So 6 months, no driving
basically
whatsoever.
The punishment for saying I don't want to blow into the breathalyzer. But you mentioned this other test. Are they always accurate, and is that a reason, another reason, one of the many reasons for calling the folks at the Dummit Law Firm? I mean, even these on-site things to get probable cause, are those tests always accurate? Are they always administered correctly?
They're not. They're not completely accurate, and that's one of the reasons the law changed a couple of years back, where the results aren't allowed in on the Alka-Sensor. The only thing that's allowed in on those types of things are whether there was positive or negative for alcohol. DWIs are such a complicated area of law. I think I heard one judge say one time there's 42 pages of DWI law in our current statutes and 20 pages on murder. It just tells you how complicated they are. So
and it doesn't seem to be consistent. If you look across what do we have, 100 counties in North Carolina, everybody seems to be able to treat these differently. The judges in terms of their leniency or the strictness of that. Isn't that right?
It is. The law is all the same for each county, but it depends on how the district attorney wants to practice it. Often, nowadays, there's no deals. There's no plea bargaining to get a lower deal.
Right.
It's a matter of challenging a DWI or pleading guilty to the DWI.
At what point should someone call your office, the Dummit Law Firm? I mean, as soon as they're stopped and they can call you on the cell phone, or what, very quickly?
Yes, they should call right away. There's a lot of things that you need to know about it, and you need to call right away. First of all, to get driving privileges potentially, and just to know what your options are.
Mike Fradin, thanks for that. We have the logo already up on the screen for the Dummit Law Firm. Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right.